Hello, welcome to the Lately in PHP podcast. This is episode 78, and as always, I have here with me Artur Sasins from Latvia to talk about PHP 7.1 and several other developments in the PHP world. How are you doing, Artur?
Hello, yeah, but I'm kind of more of a JS guy now, so you're a PHP guy, so we can have preferences from both of the worlds.
Yeah, okay. We'll have the JavaScript podcast later as well. So now it's time to talk about PHP. There are several interesting topics. PHP 7.1 was released. So let me just share the screen here so you can talk about a brief summary of the topics. Now, the challenge is which one of these thousands windows shall I share? That's
The
probably
correct one.
yes. Is this okay? PHP 5.6.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so this month we are going to cover, as always, first the latest PHP releases, starting by PHP 5.6.28, and the PHP 5.6 end of life is near. Not the exact end of support, because it will still have security bug fixes after 2017. We also covered just briefly some of the latest bug fixes on PHP 7.0, but the great news of the month, actually, in December 1st, it was released PHP 7.1.0. We'll talk a bit about what were the improvements, focus in particular those related with performance. And for that, there was another article that for now we just cover it briefly because it was published more recently, and we'll talk about it more in depth next month. But this article will cover how PHP performance evolved over time, not only from PHP 5 until PHP 7.1, but it already includes a preview of what you can expect for PHP 8 or maybe PHP 7.2, because there is a JIT engine being developed, and there are some improvements that are already shown on this article. Then we start to cover the usual set of proposals for the next PHP version. There was a proposal here regarding comparing some value with an interval. There was some discussion, but I think there was no agreement on what would be the best syntax for this that would not cause any conflicts with the current PHP syntax. Then we'll talk about a proposal regarding type-locked variables. I mean, variables that once you assign them, you cannot change the type. You can change the value, but not the type. Then we'll talk about what is planned to be deprecated in PHP 7.2. I mean, things that will start issuing warnings if you are still using them. Because they'll be removed in future PHP versions. Then we'll talk about function overloading, which should be basically to be able to override existing PHP functions in the case using extensions. Then we talk about a proposal to improve the array iterator interface with a few more functions. And then we also talk about certificates that are being used for PHP to make HTTP SSL requests. So they start distrusting the the certificates that use SHA1 hashing. Then we talk about a proposal that will allow subclasses to not be required to declare type hinting for a function that is redefined. And then we'll talk about some more recent modern practices and in the PHP community that include not only things that only work on PHP 7, but as well the extensive use of traits and also packages that implement the PSR interfaces defined by the FIG, the Framework Interoperability Group. Okay, so now let's start from the beginning, on which we'll start talking about PHP 5.628 that was released a few weeks ago. It mostly fixes some functions that you should take a look in case you are using them. And also be aware that in December 31, it will be the last day for PHP 5.6 to have support. I'm not going to ask Arthur if you're using PHP 5.6 because I know that you are these days more a Node.js guy, but I wonder what in the JavaScript world it works like in the PHP world, or is the same thing of planned versions that are being have the support stopped, or the plan is not so clear?
Well, for Node.js, it's more like Ubuntu style. You have long time support releases, and some are not that are not supported. And currently, switching between versions, at least for our code, is quite easy and has no problem. But now I'm trying to check on my shared hosting what PHP version do they offer. And yes, there it is, select PHP version, and natively they provide 5.3 PHP. So you see that the world is still falling behind.
Yeah, but that is the usual, because hosting people are always afraid of upgrading PHP versions because they break the applications of their customers. Although it's their duty to upgrade their applications, most of them are not aware. Imagine all those sites running WordPress, and what the owners of the sites do not even know what PHP version they are running, if they know they are running PHP at all. Anyway, we also have a somewhat similar set of bug fixes for PHP 7.0, and some are specific for PHP 7.0. And then the great news of the month is the release of PHP 7.1.0 that was finally launched on December 1st. And well, we talk about many of the new things in PHP 7.1. They are listed here, but I think the most evident thing that people want to know about PHP 7.1 or any new version is it any faster? Is it any secure? How did it go? How does it go? So more recently, there is an article in PHP Classes that evaluates the performance of PHP over the times. We are not going to cover this article right now. we'll get back to it next month to talk more about it in more detail. But there are two important things. According to this benchmark here, for pure CPU tasks, PHP 7.1 is 40% faster than PHP 7.0. And there is also a new experimental branch that implements a JIT engine on the top of PHP 7.1. And it is conducted by Peter Stogov and his colleagues at Zen. And they will be working on improving this. For now, it gives 50% of improvement on pure CPU tasks, but for real-world applications, I don't have the results here. And hopefully next month we already have here, because Christian that wrote this article will be working on it to benchmark, for instance, WordPress. It seems that for real-world applications like WordPress, the gains are not so big. So there may be some improvements until PHP 8 or PHP 7.2 will be developed.
I just wanted to mention one thing quickly. On the same note of trashing hostings for falling behind so much, I just noticed again on my same hosting that natively they run PHP 5.3, but they allow to set other PHP versions, I guess in some kind of emulated environment, where you can run your websites, and it's ranging from PHP 4.4 till the latest PHP 7.1. So they even provide the one that we just recently released, which I think is great.
Yeah. Yes, well, let me check just something here, because people are saying that they can't hear me on live streaming. I don't know if you can test it your other side.
Okay, let me try. So let me go to live streaming. With coding it is.
Yeah, I say.
So can you say something?
Yeah, I don't know if you will hear this.
I hear you 2 times in both Hangout and live coding.
Yeah, well, it says that it is capturing both the microphone and the tab. So is it with echo or something?
No, it seems normal. I'm just hearing it 2 times.
But with delay?
One from Hangouts instantly, and with delay on with coding website. So.
Oh, maybe you are listening 2 times. Not the people listening on live coding, because you are also listening to the Hangout.
Yeah, that's me exactly. I think they should hear only the live coding. Yeah, it should be okay. Really don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find the windows here, because there are too many windows here, and I have a microphone on in front. Okay, let's move on. So, am I still sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you can see the benchmarks, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, That's fine. So anyway, we'll get back to this article because it will also be evolving, and then we comment about also the improvements that were done on PHP 7.1 in more detail. But basically, there are some improvements in including the opcode cache, opcode optimizer that gave this 40% of increase. So I think it was great. And well, let's just wait. And so next month we also have numbers from PHP running WordPress. Okay, moving on to the next topic. There is a proposal here about interval comparison. Basically, what is being suggested here is that you somehow have a way to compare a number with an interval, like they suggested that instead of having these two conditions, you could have like just one that looks like this. Since this will complicate the syntax, I think people probably are not very keen to add a specific syntax for comparing with intervals. And I don't know, but I think there will be no advantage except that you probably just omit this part of the expressions, and well, you type less, but it's not a big deal. I don't know. Does JavaScript also have these things of comparing intervals?
No, I don't think so. I actually always looking at if statements. As a programmer, I look at them as Boolean expressions, and with the first case with and in the middle is more Boolean logic. It makes more Boolean logic sense to me than the second one. So while scheming for code reading, it would make more sense to me than a mathematical, more like evaluation of the interval. So I don't know. Well, I kind of prefer the way it is.
Yeah, I also don't know any other language that supports any syntax for this.
Oh, probably there is.
I think people are getting lazier and lazier. Oh, now I'm going to die to type these extra characters here. Because I think in terms of performance, there may not even be any gain. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, the next topic, let me share the screen again here, is about, I don't know if this is too small.
No, it's okay.
It's okay?
Well, I can read it. I don't know if others can, but I can read it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was also people commenting in the chat that they could not listen, but I hope they can listen now. So if you see other comments while I'm talking about the topics, you can as well help and commenting now. So the next topic is about type-locked variables. I mean, variables that once you assign a number or a value, you will not be able to change its type. Like if you assign a string, here you could not assign a different value. There was a discussion, but I think this is not really new because they are revisiting the idea. And this is almost to make it a strict typing language, as in
heck.
No, because I think heck still allows the changing the types. I
Really?
know,
No, I don't think so. I think actually it's kind of the same, that typing is optional, but when applied, it's strict.
you cannot change the type,
I don't think you can. I'm not
or
I'm
is
not 100% sure, but I think, yeah, it's strict type. If you define it, then it's strict. If you don't define it, then yeah, it's a weak rules.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I would have to double check. But the idea here is to eventually detect bugs that cause you to assign wrong values to variables. So it's always good, but well, as long as it is optional, it is okay because it will not break the past code that you written in the past that may have been not very consistent in terms of types. So the next proposal, the next topic that we're going to comment is what is planned to be deprecated for PHP 7.2 or PHP 8. We don't know. This proposal was written last year and it is being revised. Here they mentioned PHP 7.2, but I think there is not yet a decision if next version will be PHP 7.2 or PHP 8. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, what they are planning is to remove the autoload with 2 underscores. So you would have to register an autoloader with the SPL functions. The PHP error message is also something that we talked before. I think the idea is to remove this variable.
Yeah.
And if you want to get the last error, that there is a function for that.
Error get last.
Yeah, create function. I never use this, but this is old in PHP.
I think it's like eval, that you evaluate some code or something like that.
Yeah, I think you can create a function from a string.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to define some code at runtime, but I don't know how many people do that. Then there is some multi-byte string function overload. They also want to get rid of that. Parse str with the second argument. I don't know. Sometimes I use this function, but I'm not sure if I pass the second argument.
String, right?
Yes, it just extracts the arguments. GMP random, I also do not use the GMP, but I understand this is for arbitrary precision. Yeah, arbitrary precision math, and probably the random function is not very random. So that may be why they are thinking about this. Anyway, there is also the I don't know what. Oh, this is probably for PHP.6. When you would have a string, but you just define the string as binary instead of Unicode. And there is also a proposal to remove each. I don't remember ever uses each.
No, me not using that too.
It's probably something with arrays.
Yeah,
Assert with a string argument. Well, assert is for conditions. So I'm not sure. I also don't use assert. Assert is more to detect eventual bugs. I think nowadays people use exceptions, and that's it. error context argument of error handler. I don't know what is this. I use error handlers to catch errors and log them so I can get them later.
I think it's something for debugging, probably. That when error happened, you can get all the state of the variables or something like that.
No, but there is for that there is the debug backtrace. So I don't know. I don't think people may be using this to the point that I don't know what it is.
Me too. I don't think I have anything on the list on this list that I'm using. So we are good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you are using these things, consider updating your code. That's what is the message, because soon they'll be deprecated and then they'll be removed. So the next topic is about function overloading. And the idea is to somehow be able to overload functions in PHP using extensions. Could it be extensions?
I don't know, but typically function overloading is that you have the functions with the same name but accept different parameters, either a different count or by different types. But this example does not make much sense to me, as we are passing GMP number to an default ABS function. So probably absolute function would not know what to do with GMP number.
It probably wanted to do what you do in JavaScript, that you override variables that are the functions that implement certain calls. But that is on top of objects, not global functions. JavaScript doesn't have a global function. So I don't know. Anyway, there was some discussion. I don't know if this proposal will go anywhere. Another proposal that is being considered with an RFC, so this is more definite, is to improve the array iterator, the function seek key, which adding the function seek key to place the cursor of iteration in the position of the next element that has a given key value.
Next to current.
Yes, I think that it will start there.
Okay, but I think array iterator iterates both arrays and objects, right? So what about the key and array? So it would not work on arrays, I guess.
Well, in arrays and objects, objects are also hash tables. So when you talk about arrays in PHP, we're talking about hash tables. So
yeah, I think in that sense. So basically, it would be an index instead of key, I guess.
Well, I guess you can call it the way you prefer, but the point is that when you traverse an array or an object somehow, there is an implicit cursor that you use to define what element of the array you are looking at. So seek key would find the next element with a given key value, and the prev would go backwards, but not to a specific not a specific position. I thought there was already next and prev.
There is next, but it seems there is no prev, yeah.
Maybe not for array iterator, but for arrays, there is always the next and the prev functions. Well, anyway, this is being proposed for PHP 7.2. Let's see what happens after the voting. So the next topic is something related with security. As you may know, PHP can send HTTP requests, some to SSL, and they want to distrust certificates based on SAJ1 hashing algorithm. So this is more to discourage the using weak certificates based on weak hashing algorithms. So this is something that probably will not impact any PHP installations, except probably ones that are hold and rely on hold certificates. And okay, I think this is a more security measure that probably will not affect many people. And then we talk about another proposal that is basically allow subclasses that implement functions, inherited functions, with type hinting. So if you already define type hinting in the parent class, you would not need to define any type hinting in the subclass, because it would be redundant.
Well, currently you need, but they want.
Yeah.
They want to eliminate it.
Right. It is enough to have the parent with that that requirement, that definition of type hinting there. If you define a different type hinting in the subclass, it should throw some exception or something. Probably something, a fatal error when parsing the subclass code. Okay, this is fine. It is not yet in voting, but I think it is something that makes sense. The next topic is just to mention briefly just some of the modern practices in the PHP community that are somehow encouraged or made easier in PHP classes. In PHP classes, now there is a group for PHP 7 only, and if you want to migrate to PHP 7, there is even an article here. So many packages will start to appear that only work on PHP 7. And for that reason, there is a group in PHP 7 in PHP classes that has only PHP 7 specific packages. There are not many yet, but there will be more in the future. So that is one hint to encourage more people to work with PHP 7. Also telling that by using PHP 7 with strict type hinting, you be able to catch more bugs eventually, because you pass the wrong types of values to some function or return the wrong types of values. But you need to keep in mind that you have to use declare strict types equal to 1 in all files that you use. So if you have script that calls a class in another script, if it does not have the declare strict types in that script that calls the class, it won't there won't be strict type checking, because the idea is that you can still use classes that require strict typing in code that is not yet prepared to run strict typing. Another thing that is actually it is not new is the use of traits, because traits allows you to paste, sort of pasting code inside classes and implement functionality defined by traits in classes that are not related with that. So now in PHP classes, there is a category totally dedicated to traits, and there are many, many interesting traits. Some are pretty cool. So it provides great reuse even on environments that you can combine functionality that is not related. And another thing that I'm commenting here is that there started to appearing some packages that implement interface defined by PSR. PSR are PHP standard recommendations. There's not exactly standards, they are recommendations for something to become widespread. And because of that, in PHP classes, it was created a category just for packages that implement PSR specifications. There are not many yet, just 5 for now, but that is already something. Well, if you go and look to the number of standard packages that implement PSR interfaces, there are not many. In the beginning, the FIG group focused more on defining conventions for code style and auto-loading. Only more recently, there appeared some recommendations for interfaces. Over here are listed like 17 recommendations. Many of them are not finalized, so they are being developed, but still there are already implementations of some of those packages that implement PSR interfaces in PHP classes. And for that, some of them, or practically all of them, were nominated for the Innovation Award precisely because there were no classes before that implemented these interfaces. Well, I know that these things are very old and somewhat inspired in the Java world. I don't know if in JavaScript, is there anything similar to this that pushes some specifications for interfaces and
or interoperability between packages and stuff like that?
Yeah, the idea is that, for instance, if you use a package now and for some reason the developer stops working on it, you can have alternatives.
There is maybe something similar in Node.js, like middleware, like Express.js package, for example. When the request comes from the middleware that passes each other all the same arguments, like error, request object, and next function to call to get to the next middleware, stuff like that. So there are some standards like this, or the callbacks that usually have error as the first argument and result as the second one. and I think mostly all packages, as I know, in for Node.js use them, so they are like interoperable with each other through those kind of interfaces. But that's like a standard, and I haven't seen it written it in stone anywhere. But the Node.js core developers started using it like that, and everyone got on the same
Yeah.
train and started using the same like types of callbacks.
So it's more like a convention rather than a standard
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yes.
So nobody. I think there are no interfaces, no
No.
for JavaScript, right? You just
No. No.
have prototypes, but the
Yeah.
prototypes do not define. I wonder if ECMAScript has anything about the because now ECMAScript has real classes, right?
Yes.
But you are probably not using it yet, or are you?
Well, we have a debate in the team lately. We started using features in server code in Node.js, but still not using anything on the browser because the support is really, really poor, and like it would be hell to try to support something older than Internet Explorer 11 or something like that. But yeah, there are classes in ECMAScript, but I don't think there are anything about interfaces yet. There are JavaScript flavors, so that have much more advanced things. Like I think TypeScript, it's really, really OOP oriented. It probably has interface. I'm not sure, but I think probably it has interfaces because it's quite advanced in that way.
Yeah. Well, so when you say support, it means things are not stable and you don't have anybody to guarantee that they work.
You mean about the browsers?
No, not browsers. I mean Node.js.
No, the Node.js.
Or you're talking about browsers. Okay.
No, on server side, we are using the new features because we just recently raised the version that we are using to Node.js 6 and using everything that it supports. There is strictly defined what is supported, and we are controlling which Node.js version we are installing, so there is no problem there. The problem is specifically in the browsers because we don't know what browser would the end user use.
Yeah, that may be problematic. But just these days, user complain, "Oh, I cannot access this page. There is a SSL error," and well, since I am migrating most of things to use SSL, I don't know if the person was using some browser that had problems. And the browser was a Safari 10 on iPhone 5. I tried some simulators. It didn't have a problem. So I wonder what was the SSL error that the person got. I don't know. Well, browsers are always a challenge because you don't control which persons they are. Anyway, just to finish commenting about this article. Now, in PHP classes, when you submit a package, you are immediately encouraged to use version control. Actually, you are encouraged to use GitHub because now you can just paste the URL of GitHub and it will automatically import everything with very few or none questions asked.
Not only that, actually, I may add that I'm using this feature myself, and every time I update a package I just need to update it on the GitHub and PHP classes or JS classes automatically fetches the updates, updates the package, and it's awesome.
Yes, that was something that happened just already for a while. But what happens now is that you just go on the contribute page and paste the URL You can either add things in the traditional way, like adding repositories, importing them, or you can just paste the URL of GitHub. Why just GitHub? Because GitHub has an API, and we can fetch things from the API with more details about what are the names of the packages and descriptions and so on. So you just paste the URL, and it will add the package and immediately import the files. It also guesses the types of the files, because in the past it was required for you to tell if the types are right. Now it just imports them and tries to make good, educated guesses about the types of files. And this is just to minimize the effort, because some people were feeling discouraged to submit packages because it was a bit bureaucratic process. So now we just put a URL of a Git repository, and there you go. At most, in the end, you may want to fix some descriptions, but probably not much more than that. And other than that, as you may notice, when a package is considered notable, now many people get a notice, so they can check it out, that package immediately, regardless if it is innovative or not. If it is innovative, great, but it will only be nominated by the end of the month. But if it is notable for doing something considered notable, you will have a greater exposure immediately to the package, because many tens of thousands of users will get a message to check it out, your package. And just to finalize, here, if you get nominated, you already will get you may get an elephant. This is a very disputed prize, and the elephant will be personalized with your name. But this is not news. I just want to call it news. And finally, one thing that people were complaining, oh, there are lots of bad quality packages. And what people sometimes call bad quality packages are packages that use a certain syntax or code formatting that was more common in the past. So now, if you search in PHP classes, it will just show, actually, it will not just show, it will give priority, well, at least some weight to packages that have been updated more recently. In search results, you can even see the last time of the last update.
Makes perfect sense.
Yes, although sometimes good packages were not updated for a long time, but they are still good because they are good at what they do, and there may have not been much reason to update them recently.
They would also have a good rating and other stuff that would weight them more, so I think it would even out eventually.
Yeah. Although these stars here are not exactly from ratings, are from relevance. It's the search engine that uses stars to measure the relevance. Anyway, well, that is basically what I want to comment. Other than that, some people said, oh, the look and feel of the PHP class is always old, so there was a slight update, mostly on the CSS, to use a more modernized look, whatever this means. This design was implemented by Samuel Adesina, and there are still a few fixes to make small. things. If you notice something that is wrong, please contact the site so I can be aware of things that I may have overlooked. Okay. Well, with this, where is the Hangouts window? Okay. Well, with this, you practically ended this edition of the Lately in PHP podcast. This will be the last one of 2016. Hope to see you in 2017, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But we still have to record the one about the Innovation Award and the latest PHP articles. So if you are watching this on live coding, hang on in there. To get back in a moment. So on my behalf, that is all for now. Bye.
Bye.